Good evening, guys. Happy Wednesday to all of your sunshiny faces. So I actually already took a shower because I had edited some and I was waiting for the videos to save and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm just gonna go hop in the shower now. So now that that is done, I have my memory card back in here. But yeah, I'm already done. I'm just ready to go hop into bed now. I did work on my jewel list because I was like, oh yeah, we really don't have anywhere we have to go this week. Like, if I make the grocery list for Tony's and Caputo's tomorrow, my dad might actually be able to go there tomorrow, and then we can avoid all the weekend stuff. But they have their football dinner that they normally have, and also too, because this is the last regular season game, you know, like this Friday, I don't know if they're going to be doing anything extra or special or something like that, because they still bring all of the Frost Off kids. Like last year when they went, all of the Frost Off kids were allowed to like come to the you know, the playoff game, even if they don't like play in it, but they're allowed to be like suited up and everything like that. At least that's what they did last year. And just in case, again too, if a kid ends up getting hurt or whatever, they can, you know, put like one of the Frost Off kids in. But again too, they normally have backups for the backups, you know, even up at varsity. A lot of times if they already know though, like, oh, we're short on like this position or something like that, they might move one of those kids up for like a game or two. I think they did it a few times this year. That even happened too, I think when maybe Jack's sophomore year, possibly, he ended up getting moved up, I think, like for one like game or something like that, because they were like short at that position. I don't think he ended up playing. He might have maybe been on like kickoff or something like that. But I want to say that maybe his sophomore year that happened. But like, you know, they might just bring him up for a game and then they go back to playing their normal like Frost Off, you know, like before the Friday night football game kind of thing. So again, I don't know if they're doing anything though special, because this will be the Frost Off's last, like, you know, their last football dinner before the, you know, like their last official football game, because again too, they might not end up playing at all in the playoff game. But if it's the same as they did last year, they have brought all of the kids, you know, throughout the whole level all to the, you know, to the football game, because our school is kind of not so super small. It's one of the smaller ones, surprisingly, kind of in the area. And on top of that too, the football program is pretty small anyway. So like we only have one other, like we have a varsity and one other, you know, lower level team. And, you know, other schools have like a freshman A and B team and, you know, like a sophomore team and a JV team. And, you know, they might have like 4 teams under varsity. So, you know, in addition to that, we just have one team. Like Matthew's freshman year, they had a freshman team, and then I know they had a sophomore team and a JV team throughout his years. But then I think started getting smaller, and then like they didn't have a freshman team though, like after his freshman team moved on, then they might have, or I think they had the sophomore team, then the year following that they just combined freshman and sophomore instead of having like a separate freshman and separate sophomore team. So I think like by the time he was like in JV, like his junior year, varsity, whatever, because he was playing at varsity his junior year. But like that, I think they started combining like freshman, sophomore, so they only had 2 lower levels. Now we only have just the 1 lower level. And on occasion too, even though it is Frost Off, I think sometimes too it's like they might have juniors play on the team if they're like, you know, again too, like we'll definitely not see any playing time at varsity. But for the most part, a lot of the times, like there's almost no juniors on the Frost Off team, but that's just kind of, again, to like the level that it is. But like I said, I think that they've had on occasion juniors on a Frost Off team as well. It's weird too, because like they sometimes call that like junior varsity. Like that's kind of what it would be, but I don't know. It's just, it's weird. It's always been like, I've never really known like what's, you know, I like kind of how they define it and stuff like that. But that's regardless to say, on Friday, like I said, or Thursday tomorrow, they might be doing something extra or special. I don't know entirely, just because it is the last regular season, you know, like this is the last regular season week of football. Then they have playoff football following next week. So senior night is Friday, and it looks like the weather is not going to be horrible. It does look like it's supposed to rain, which is surprising because we've gotten through the entire season with no rain so far, which is amazing. So it looks like it's going to rain, but only in the morning. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it stays that way. And then it's going to be a little bit cooler. It's only going to be like 65 as a high for the entire day, but that's not like by the time, you know, the football game starts at 7 o'clock, the sun has gone down and it's going to be a lot colder than that. So this will probably be the coldest game, but still not even really that unbearable. Like 65 is still pretty decent for a regular day. And then again too, by the time football starts, like last week was also not that bad, and it was like 70, I think, 70 something degrees. But you know, by the time the football game started, it was cold. The thing is, I didn't wear like boots last week. I wore gym shoes with like thin like athletic socks. My feet were freezing cold. But other than that, I was insanely comfortable at the football game on Friday. Like, other than my feet being really, really cold, I was actually like, with my jacket that I got and everything like that, I have been comfortable. But we also haven't had really, really cold weather. The following week after that, it looks like it's going to be maybe about 2 degrees colder, like 63, I think. And I don't know if we're gonna have rain and stuff like that, but that's kind of what it's looking like right now for the, you know, football for the next 2 weeks. And then if we win that playoff game, we'll move on to the next playoff game. That's what's going on for Friday. Then on Saturday, I think I was telling you guys they have the watch party, which is like, they have like, you know, like a broadcast kind of thing that shows where all the teams end up, you know, in Illinois, like football playoffs, they end up getting ranked for, and like, you know, who they are playing against, the seeding and everything like that. And so on Saturday we're going to go watch that. Like last year I think they did pizza, and then we ended up going to the auditorium and like they watched it and stuff like that, which was pretty cool. But it's like a really cool kind of like you know, like group atmosphere kind of thing. So that was pretty fun, like last year, to get to go and, you know, be a part of that. But then like I said, following that will be the you know, playoff game. So hopefully we're fingers crossed, hoping to be somewhere closer than we were last year. Last year was like 5-hour drive, I think, or 3-hour drive. I don't remember. It was a long drive. It was, I know, I want to say it was probably 5 hours, because I know it was further than my grandparents' house, and my grandparents was like 3 hours away. I think they would have been like the halfway point almost. And then we had to go another like 2 hours after that or something close to it. But yeah, that was not fun last year. We are really hoping to be somewhere a lot closer this year, which would be really, really nice. So, you know, again, and it looks like where we could possibly fall, like there's a handful of teams we might, you know, like again too, depending on what happens, but you know, most of the teams that we'll probably kind of be against are thankfully somewhat closer. I don't think, my dad was like the furthest it looked like might have been like one of the teams was like 3 hours, which would be still considerably a lot better than the 5 hours it was last year. But that would be really nice if we didn't have to drive that far. So anyways, like I said, that's what it's looking like as far as football stuff goes. But on Saturday though, it's in the evening, I think, so we should still go to Jewel probably, unless we're gonna, this will be the first Saturday I think we don't have anything going on in the morning though. So we might go to Jewel and Aldi on Saturday, or my dad might just go to Tony's and Caputo's. But if I can get him the list tomorrow, maybe he can go after that. But like I said, I don't know what he'll have going on tomorrow, and if I don't tell him ahead of time, he also might not go, so I don't know. But again too, there's just, you know, like only maybe a few more weeks left of football, and then maybe things will be getting back to somewhat normal a little bit. But I'm gonna kind of miss it. Like, I'm already like, you know, wow, it hasn't really felt entirely like football because we've had such nice weather. You know, it's been at least decent weather for the most part, and you know, like the temperature and stuff like that. Now it's like, oh, we're gonna have like a cooler game, but like it's still not even gonna be like that cold. So I remember Matthew's last game of his senior year, it was, they played away, but I remember bringing a blanket and being like, oh, it's gonna be cold, and like it was humid out, and I remember it was not really cold at all. Like, I was dressed warm, but I was not cold. And so like I just remember like being like, wow, like of all the other games that like he had, his season I think was maybe the worst. He had like the worst weather, like all of his football, most of his football games, like it was always raining. Like those, like I know his junior and senior year, like it always seemed like it was raining and it was freezing cold, except for that very last game of the season. But anyways, I'm going to get to bed since I already took a shower, but I'll see you guys in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up, and I'll see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. So bye guys.